Hey, it's Brendan Fleming here. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Social Security and a way to replace Social Security. First, we're going to talk a little bit about retirement accounts and retirement plans, and then we'll touch on the replacement for Social Security. There are four basic types of retirement plans that people have in the United States. The first one is what's called a defined benefit plan. This is where an employee goes to work for an employer and they work a certain number of years, and when the employee gets ready to retire, there's money that's paid to the employee based on their earnings as well as their length of service with that particular employer. Think of a traditional pension plan. The next one would be a defined contribution plan. This is where an employee goes to work for an employer and they put money into a special account, and a lot of times the employer will have a matching component to that account. And when the employee gets ready to retire, whatever's in the account is the employee's, and the employee can spend it how they wish. Think of a 401k account, a 457 account, which is the public sector one, and simple IRAs, another one for small employers. The next one would be Social Security. Social Security is a system where the employee puts in 6.2% earnings, currently up to $176,100 of earnings, and the employer puts in a matching 6.2%. This money goes to the Social Security Administration. And when the employee gets ready to retire, there's a formula that the Social Security Administration uses to pay benefits to the employee. And the employee will receive a check for the rest of their life based on their earnings, how much has been contributed, and the number of years that they've contributed. The fourth one would be basically a loose system of accounts. The most common one being an IRA account, individual retirement account. This is where the employee puts in money to a special account, and it grows, and then when the employee gets ready to retire, they can withdraw the money out. There are two versions of this. The traditional version, which takes pre-tax dollars into the account, and when the employee gets ready to retire, they'll have to pay income tax on the money taken out. And the other one is called a Roth account, which is post-tax, after the employee has been taxed on the money that goes into the account. That money can be taken out tax-free. And then there's other just general savings, which would be lumped into that fourth group and with the IRA accounts. So those are our basic four types of ways people save for retirement. The problem with Social Security, again, is that it's scheduled to run out of money. And this is because of different factors over the years, that the payout is not necessarily based on what's contributed. And also it's based on people, and as people live longer, it puts more drain on the system. So right now it's currently scheduled to run out of money in 2033 to 2035, somewhere in that time frame. What I would propose is a way to replace that, and this would only be a way to replace Social Security. Employees and employers could continue to have pensions set up. They could continue to have 401k accounts set up, 457 accounts, IRA accounts. This would not affect any of those. This would only affect Social Security. Okay, so here's how I would propose to eliminate the Social Security problem. Okay, employees would continue to contribute 6.2% of earnings for the next 6 years into Social Security. In addition, in the first year, they'd contribute 0.8% of earnings into the new retirement account, which would be an account that's set up like a 401k account, one of those where the employee would be able to pick where the money's invested. The second year, the employee would continue to contribute 6.2%, and the new account would go from 0.8% to 1.8% the next year. And we increase it by 1 percentage point each year up until the sixth year. And at that point in time, the employee would be contributing 6.2% as well as to Social Security, and then 5.8% into the new retirement account. The seventh year is a big magical year for this account here. The employee would stop contributing to Social Security, and instead of contributing 6.2% into Social Security, that amount would go into the new retirement account, as well as the 5.8% that had previously been contributed. And so it would change over to where 12% is now contributed into Social Security, into the new retirement account. The employer would also be matching the same percentages into the same types of accounts in years 1 through 6. And then in year 7, the employer would contribute 12% to the new retirement account as well. Okay, and then at that point where the employee and the employer begins to contribute 12% each into the new retirement accounts is the big crossover year. At that point, anyone who's currently on Social Security would continue to receive Social Security benefits just as they had been. Anyone who's retired and receiving Social Security benefits. The people who had contributed in the 6 years prior to that, who are retired, would still have access to the funds in the new account as well. And then the people who are not currently retired, who are age, and we'd have to set a age in there, either 30, 35, or 40, somewhere in there. Those people from that age up into retirement would have the option to convert over into the new account and receive a rebate for what had been paid into Social Security into the new account, or receive both Social Security and the new account, although they would not be contributing anymore into Social Security, so their checks in Social Security would not be as great as if they had continued to work those other years, but they'd have the new account to offset that. And then people on the younger workers, and we'd have to set, again, that cutoff at either 30, 35, 40 years, whatever we decide that that cutoff would be. People under that age would receive a rebate check for anything that's paid in, and they would not contribute into Social Security, and so they would not have the Social Security tax, but everything would go into the new retirement account. Now, I know 12% contributing sounds like a lot, but in a broad sense, it's not. This would be something that we'd gradually go into, number one, but also think of other retirement systems. Think of railroad retirement. This is one that's guaranteed by the federal government for railroad workers. Railroad retirement has two components, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 is taxed like Social Security, where the employee pays 6.2% of wages. The employer also pays 6.2% into the railroad retirement account. Tier 2 has the employee contributing 4.9% of wages into the account, and for a grand total from the employee of 11.1%, so very close to 12%. The employer on Tier 2, though, contributes 13.1%. So the employer is contributing 19.3% into railroad retirement.